Good morning. Morning, Nafis. Good morning, Lauren. Looks like IBF is our top leading gainer today. No six. This is interesting right here, right as we're sitting down, but I don't trade before 7 a.m. We broke this pivot. This is an obvious flat top pivot level here, 275. And it's doing a pullback right now. On our leading gainer, IVF. So something like this would normally be an entry for me, but I'm going to wait till 7. Second leading gainer, IPST. This one's sold off a bit too much, so I guess we're just watching IVF this morning. Morning, Kingman. Drews. Who knows? Maybe we'll get one, yeah. You never know. Looks like we're right at around this daily level. 311. Is he? That's out of the norm for him. So we're gonna try playing around with half size this week, I suppose, instead of quarter size. Nothing is really changing. It's just the share number is going to go up times 2. That's about it. Morning, NCDs. Good luck to you too. Morning, momentum trader. You finally got tired of Weeble NCDs? Yeah. Yeah, if I'm trading right, Share size is just a different number. So the only thing I'm worried about is if the past few weeks is just a stroke of luck. It certainly could have been. In which case, I'll have to size back down if I begin having losing weeks again. But for right now, we're gonna continue with the momentum while the market is treating us well, at least. Granted, last week wasn't easy to trade with all the topping tails. We are coming up to 7 a.m. in a couple of minutes. And we're holding this pivot level of 275. So on a $2 stock, probably trade 200 shares. 90. Looks like it's failing to hold for now. Morning, Troy. Yeah, since we got IPST and IVF both up, but IPST seems like it's left focus since it's so far below the highs. It's 50% below the highs almost. Morning, Harris. Morning, Tex. So this is coming back up. This is going to give us a 7 a.m. pop. Yeah, it did. Suppose I should have pressed the button. Well, that is 298. Morning. Yeah, 311. Morning, Grace. Look like it's holding. We had IPST moving at the same time at 7 a.m. So seems like Troy is correct about the dispersed attention. Well, let's see what IVF is doing. It formed a gigantic spinning top on the 5 minute now. Doesn't look great. I have some tea this morning instead of coffee. See if I feel any difference. It looks like it has ascending support. Yeah, Wheato on continuation. I was up here on 1295. More expensive, and it's also in lighter volume right now. I think that when this comes up near the highs, is going to be too far extended. So we'll see if it pops up and holds up, I guess. It's more expensive, my liking. Morning, Eli. I'm switching to DOS. Yeah, DOS is expensive, but it's really good. I saw the level 2 that you're using in the time and sales, and DOS would definitely be a large upgrade. I'm pretty sure the DOS software is really expensive though, isn't it? It's the only problem. Morning, Slappa. Yeah, 120 USD. Definitely not easy to stomach. It's a really good software, from what I've heard. I'll be using DOS when I switch to Centerpoint in the future, but I need to build up a $30,000 account first. Why Centerpoint over TZ? Centerpoint's a very well-known company. They've been around for a long time. I would just, for one, I would feel more comfortable having a larger account size in a more well-known company like Centerpoint than Trade Zero, which is an international company. And Centerpoint has access to DOS, which is a better software than Trade Zero's native software. And Centerpoint also has direct access routing for faster execution speed, whereas Centerpoint only has smart routing, which is causing some problems sometimes for me. Sometimes my executions just don't get filled. They just don't get sent. Trade Zero has lag sometimes. Trade Zero's, it gets the job done for sure, but there's just a few bonuses over Centerpoint over Trade Zero. Oh, did they get bought out a week ago? I didn't know that. Yeah, Centerpoint has commissions, but Centerpoint requires a $30,000 USD minimum account size. So it's not something I can use right now. Yeah, I know who Stock Jock is. I've seen him on YouTube. IPST breaking VWAP. It's still really far below the highs. Yeah, this probably would have been okay for the retest of VWAP here on this 1 minute micro pullback after it broke through. A few topping tails, but it's not bad. But I'm just, after it's sold off so much, I'm a bit wary to trade it because there's going to be a lot of bag holders on the way up. Maybe if it gets up over 7. Yeah, having a job in a certain sense is a little bit of a boon because you're too busy to stick around and overtrade. For me, at least. But at this point, now that I've been trading long enough, I think that even if I didn't have a job, I probably would just get off at 10 anyways. Maybe come back for power hour, potentially, but I wouldn't trade past 10. Qual Maggie made 100 mil with Centerpoint? Hmm. I'm not sure who Qual Maggie is. Kula Maggie. Morning, human. Power hours after 3 or so, 3:30. 3:30 up until market close. Three thirty till 4:30. Yeah, I knew it started at 3:30. I guess they call it power hour since if it's 3:30 to 4:30 specifically. That would make sense. 5K to 100 million in 78 years. Wow. And you know what I was actually considering if I do quit my job and I become a trader full time, I probably would look into um, also doing market open strategies on a different account. I'll probably learn both at the same time. I'd probably do small caps during pre-market and then maybe some market open strategies after 9:30 on a small account. Learning it for the first time again. Um, could be large caps, could be futures, who knows? Or it could be like opening range breaks. I'm not sure yet. Maybe even in the simulator for a while. Morning, Rafi. Buy ODTEs. I would want to trade a strategy that has a proven edge. I don't know which one would have a proven edge yet. I would need to do more research. because, you know, 85-90% of my knowledge is centered around small caps. Even if I'm unsuccessful with it, I would want to at least give it a shot. I know there's a reason why Ross trades small caps, but I'm good this morning. Just chilling and waiting for something interesting. I'm hoping for something fresh today. PTR. Yeah, that's something that I tried to use for a little bit back when I was more of a beginner. Might be something worth revisiting. But I don't want to make my strategy too complicated either. Saying that DOS is better. DOS Trader. DOS Trader is a software developed specifically for day traders that a lot of brokers use. It's very expensive, but it has everything that you could want as a day trader. Lots of customization options, lots of customizable hotkeys, good speed, depending on what your broker is, because I think speed is dependent on the broker. But I've seen some videos of Ross trying out DOS before, and he says that it's good. It's very close to the same as what we have on TZ. But DOS, well, not DOS specifically, but Centerpoint has direct access routing, which increases the execution speed. So I can route my orders directly to NASDAQ instead of having the smart routing, which is sometimes fumbling my orders. So that's the main reason, is having direct routing. But Trade Zero is still very close to DOS. I'm not entirely familiar with, yeah, I'm Canadian, so I don't have access to a lot of stuff. But I'm sure DOS has some extra stuff as well that Trade Zero doesn't have. I'm not aware of it because I haven't looked extensively into DOS yet. I only know that it's a very good software. I can't tell you the specifics of, you know, what extra features DOS has. But I do know that they have direct routing. I'm in Ontario, Canada. Up here in the bush. EFSC looking to break this daily high of 357. I'm surprised that DFSC is doing this because it was earnings news the other day. Kind of close to the 200 moving average. Not really up enough on the day to be obvious. Yeah, I think most brokers can do hidden orders. Trade Zero can do hidden orders, yes. Yeah, DOS is definitely not the cheap alternative. If budget is an issue, then Weeble is going to be for most people. Those are some pretty nasty rejections. Yeah. Yeah, now IVF is bumping up against this ascending resistance as well. Well, even Trade Zero Canada doesn't have the same features as Trade Zero US. I don't know why. We still have most of it, but there's some hotkeys that we don't have, for example, that the US does. That's all I've found so far. Yeah, because we're under the jurisdiction of Zero. Oh no, it's not just hotkeys, it's also leverage. So there's a reason why our leverage is restricted, like most small cap stocks. Um, I, I can't use any leverage even if I wanted to because it's just restricted. But it's not Trade Zero specifically. That's like all Canadian brokers. I'm not sure though if Centerpoint would allow leverage or if Zero is still going to restrict that, even with Centerpoint being like a 30,000 account minimum. Uh, how long does it take to fund TZ via e-transfer? Well, they only go through on business days. So if you put it in on the weekend, like if you put it in on a Saturday, you're gonna have to wait till Monday. Usually around regular market hours, I think. With commissions, we pay $0.005 per share, so half a cent per share on non-marketable limit orders above $100 or 100 shares, not $100, above 100 shares. And below 100 shares, we pay a flat fee of 49 cents plus some additional fees, like about a dollar and a little bit per trade. Did I say that right in the first part? We pay half a cent on marketable limit orders. Non-marketable limit orders are free. So if you throw an order up ahead of the ask and it sits on the ask, then the commissions are free on it. That would be a non-marketable order, but marketable orders where you get a match instantly are half a cent per share above 100 shares. And yeah, the 60 month for the platform fee is 50 a month, I think, for us. Morning, Chimera. Yeah, it's 49 cents, 49 cents out, and then a little bit of fees in and out. It's about a dollar per trade. Thanks, Stealth. I don't know what Ross is looking at. I don't have his stream open, so I'm not sure. I'm looking at IBF if it can curl back up. Momentum Trader, two of you just joined the Discord. Are both of them you, or is there one person impersonating you? Okay, both of them are you. Gotcha. I just have to make sure since I've already had one scammer join the Discord pretending to be me, so I gotta keep my eye out for impersonators. I gotta get some moderators soon, I think. Gotta reply. If he was just asking to be your friend, sounds harmless. Olam. Yeah, I haven't messaged anybody. So if any of you got a message from me, it's probably a scammer. The only person I've uh, messaged was Amber, Rafi, and who else? Eli. I messaged a few people, but if any of you are getting messages from me, it's not me. I don't reach out to people to ask them to I don't reach out to people to ask them to like, you know, offer coaching or anything like that. Or asking to be friend. I'm already your friend. My world's falling apart. So UCL has a higher float, 15 million shares. I see that it has some news, share repurchase program, but it's right below the 200 moving average and it's the higher float. I know the penny stocks have been moving, but this isn't one for me to trade. I'll probably continue developing the Discord. I just haven't had time to do it. It's very bare bones right now, but I'll have to put some work into that. And I also applied for YouTube partnership, which I'm still waiting on, so we'll have to figure out how to do that stuff. UCL is kind of grinding up, but I'm just not interested in this. 13 cents away from the 200 moving average. Is this the first stream to break 100 viewers? Oh, do I have 100 viewers? I don't watch viewers, so I don't know. Viewer count doesn't really matter to me. I'm just here chilling with you guys. If we get lots of subs, we get lots of subs or viewers, that's fine. But it's not something I'm actively monitoring. Definitely growing fast. I paid the annual sub for a discount back in November. Similar to TradingView, I got both of them annual subs for when they were on discount. So that'll be expiring, of course, in around November. And by then I'll have to decide if I want to switch to a different journaling software because TraderView kind of seems a little bit bare bones compared to some other ones. I have to look into which one I'm gonna want to continue using. Does TraderView do 70% like TradingView? What do you mean? Yeah, I know that there are ways to create on your own trading journal with Claude, for sure. Um, Not sure about it though. I don't remember what the discount on TraderView was. It's definitely not as often as TradingView. I think it was like 20% or something. I was looking at does anyone know about Kinfo? Apparently that's a platform to verify traders. I was considering using that in the future. Especially if I switch to Centerpoint at some point, then I would probably switch to Kinfo at like the same time and then do a like an account challenge and then have my results verified at the same time. But I don't know if it's an actual like journaling software or if it's just for verification and its journaling abilities are not very good. Then I would need to have a separate journaling software anyways. But that would still be good for verification stuff. I could make my own Google Sheets, but you know, I don't really have a lot of extra free time. So anything that saves me some time is going to be better rather than having to mess around with Claude and create something like that or mess around with Google Sheets and input everything myself. I'd rather have something that's gonna save me time, because time is pretty valuable to me right now. Yeah, they can. Kinfo connects directly to the broker, and they make it so that you cannot alter your results. So it's a platform designed to verify traders. And apparently, there's like some sort of leaderboard on it or something. I heard about it because Lance B mentioned it in one of his videos. Ocean One is banned in Canada, unfortunately. Well, in Ontario specifically. It's probably available in other parts of Canada, but in Ontario, they don't like it. Has some sort of regulatory action against them. So MACD's curling positive on IVF again. I just have to wait for it to hold up. Leaderboard would be bad for my FOMO. Zimtra? Never heard of it. Ugh. What's up, Robbie? I should just stop looking at charts because every time I look at them, they just dump. I should just continue talking with chat. We're not making money yet. We're waiting to make the money. I know that there are some shady brokers internationally that will allow you up to like 600 times leverage or something stupid. But I would not use those. What's up, Andy? I appreciate that. I use Charts Watcher. I have a video on my channel uh, going through my whole setup. If you're interested in Charts Watcher, I go through all of the settings and stuff and show them on the video. I see IPST crawling back up again. Money ain't found us yet. Yeah, we're waiting for the money to come to us. I just need to sit here. Eventually the money will come. Need to make myself available to grab it when it does show up. I almost had spicy chicken fingers again yesterday, but then I remembered that we're trading today, so can't make the same mistake twice. Um, expensive, like relatively speaking, if we're talking about comparing it to some other platforms, it's not super expensive. Like it's $70 Canadian for the advanced sub, which is around $50 USD. For the uh yeah, the advanced, which gives 10-second charts, 250 millisecond chart refresh rate, gives export import configs, gives you a decent number of dashboards to work with. But if you compare that to Day Trade Dash, which charges like $280 Canadian or 197 for their charts and scanners, right? We're talking about a fraction of the price of Day Trade Dash, and it can do most of the same things that Day Trade Dash can, if not all. And I believe it's cheaper than Trade Ideas as well. I think Trade Ideas is a bit more expensive. Trade Ideas is somewhere in between Charts Watcher and Day Trade Dash. And then there was a AI type of scanner that's in beta right now that was looking at the request of someone that I forget the name of right now. That one was like, it's free while in beta, but I think they were charging like $90 USD for it. So it's pretty good for the features it offers compared to some other scanner software. Need TP for my buttonhole. Yeah, I briefly looked into TC2000 also. Seems good. It's been around for a long time. Honestly, ChatGPT is like falling behind in the AI game. I think ChatGPT is not as good anymore. I think Claude is just better. It's kind of astonishing considering how much funding that ChatGPT's had. I think even Google's Gemini is starting to become better. I'm curious of what's going to happen when OpenAI does its IPO. We have OpenAI and then we have Anthropic, right? Or is it Anthropic then OpenAI? I don't remember which one's getting their IPO first. I think Anthropic is first. They're trying to take all the hype. We got 1 minute to 8 a.m. here. We're going to be watching news. And then I can link directly to YouTube videos. Yeah, that would be really helpful for especially someone like me where I'm streaming my trades on YouTube. So if I can link the AI directly to YouTube and say analyze all my trades or like my facial expressions or posture or whatever it needs to do, that'd be cool. Because you can't you can't really upload VODs to ChatGPT because it has a max limit. And also you can't tell them to go to a YouTube video. It doesn't let them. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. EYPT. I have no idea. This isn't something I would ever normally trade anyways, but I wouldn't be able to tell you. No, I don't know. Depends on why they're gapping down, I guess. I don't see any news yet. NKK has 8 a.m. news, but it's not moving. Bonk Inc. All right, have a good one, NCDs. Is this going to be the next big squeeze? Very low relative volume on it. We had a 367 million share day recently. Well, I don't see any 8 a.m. news. Be right back just a second. I think my dog wants to go upstairs because, oh, he's fine. He's chilling. Oh, and never mind. He's looking at me now because he knows I looked at him. I'm gonna let him upstairs. You go upstairs, buddy? Uh, here he is. Here, 1 second. You go upstairs. All right, we're good. Mm-hmm. Kind of stuck in no man's land on these two top leading gainers. Let's check the S&P 500. What's it doing? This is a really interesting rally. Going sideways. I hope we don't go back to a cold market. That would suck. Yeah, I mean, it might, but it's moving too slowly for me to be interested. And it's right below the 215 million share float. I think I am good. Even if it does break here, it only has like 8 cents to move before it hits the 200. $0.07. Yeah, who knows, right, with these penny stocks. It could break and do the thing that it did with SCKT, I don't know, but I would be very surprised if it were to happen on a telecommunications stock on a repurchase program news. On a higher float. How do I tell if it's easy to borrow? I don't. It's not as reliable for that as Lightspeed, for example. Sometimes there will be an S here, but it's very rare to see it on small cap stocks. At least with TradeZero Canada, because of Canadians' regulation for using margin. We're not allowed to use margin for small cap stocks, so most small cap stocks in the same sense aren't going to be easy to borrow. IPST breaking through. All of this pullback is about 725. I'll take a position stop of around 735. I'm gonna look for the pop back up to 8. Yeah, it's struggling a little bit here. Yeah, the low of the pullback is 730. Let's see what it does here. I mean, this is potentially a bull flag pattern on the 1 minute. I'm just holding. No, back out. Big sellers popping up. There's some huge sellers there. We got out before the drop at least, so it's only a small loss. Nice job, momentum trader. Yeah, I did have the opportunity to take some profit at 770 as it popped, but then my risk reward wouldn't have been worth it. I thought that it had, yeah, I thought that it had a good chance of retesting the highs. Then it would have been worth it for my risk reward, but when that seller popped up, I had to exit. An exit indicator. So is this an ABCD pattern on the 1 minute above 756? Hmm. Seems like it's struggling. It looks like it ended up working there. Big false breakout. I suppose I should have taken this ABCD pattern. 750. Yeah. Add that to the missed opportunities. One. The only thing I was worried about on this pattern was that we broke the lows. So kind of making a lower low there. So it broke the previous candle. So it was a bit of a lopsided ABCD, but it was still an ABCD. I suppose we're waiting for something new. We're in a huge gap above the pre-market highs of 5. This is very light volume right now. So this is breaking 5. Did it hold 5? I don't have Ross's stream open, but I could open it to check what he's doing. Looks like he got a nice trade on IPST. Up 63,000. Ooh. I would be up on IPST if I just hit the button on this ABCD pattern. I don't know why I didn't. Comparisons are a pain. But when I end up comparing him and myself, I just have to remember that he's got 20 years, I've got 1. So if effort and experience translated directly into profits, he should be making, you know, at least 20 times the profits. If I were to multiply my share size by 100, or probably 500 to match his share size, and probably be accurate. $20 of a simulator? No, it wouldn't. The reason being is that emotions are a large part of your trading. If you spent 20 years in a simulator and you traded with money for the first time after 20 years, you'd almost certainly feel a surge of emotions. And that would greatly hinder your trading. A simulator as well, you would get used to getting instant fills all the time. You would get used to not having as much slippage. So someone who's trading in the simulator might have a false sense of confidence. Say if they were trading with like 10,000 shares in a simulator, it's not going to translate to real money at all. Their statistics might look good, but the slippage adds up. and the emotional decision making adds up. The simulator is an important part of the beginner's learning process, but beginners eventually have to step away from a simulator and trade with a throwaway account, in my opinion. Even if you trade 5 shares, 10 shares, you put 200, 500 bucks into a small account, put in whatever you're comfortable losing into a throwaway account. Not like purposely lose it, but understand that whatever money goes into that account is likely not coming back out. So that they can feel the emotional part of trading and learn to deal with it and maintain discipline. So this isn't up enough on the day for me. Relative volume is a bit lower. Big spreads. I'm certainly feeling more than I feel in the simulator. And the thing about trading with real money, even though it's small size, it's relative to what your financial position is, right? Like for some people, losing $10 is a lot. Like that's potentially their dinner for the day. In which case, they would feel a lot of emotions losing that. For me, $10 isn't so bad, but I still feel emotions losing it. And the key is to maintain consistency with the current size that you're at, feel some emotions, and then as you get consistent, you size up slowly and you stop at a level where you start feeling emotions again until you get used to it. And then if you can't get used to it, then you go back down. So you kind of find your sweet spot. You desensitize yourself to it, and then you continue going as you maintain that consistency. But compared to a simulator where you can kind of just go wild and in the back of your mind you know that it doesn't matter, right? It's still not as many emotions as you would feel with a live account putting $200 in, and then you lose $10 and you get frustrated. You lose another $10. Now you're going off the rails and you lose your entire $200 account in one day, right? It's still different than the simulator. Simulator, you can blow your frustrations and it doesn't matter. A live account, you can't. You don't have an outlet for your frustrations other than to continue trading and losing it all. And I mean, right, I'm still having some hesitation on some entries here with the current size that I'm trading at. Like right here, I hesitated, and because I hesitated, I'm still red on the day where I could be green on the day. I think that there is an important stage where you should be using simulator, and that's when you're very new to trading and you need to learn how to use hotkeys and do execution properly. And for back testing, so that you can gain a sense of trust with the strategy, so that you understand that the strategy that you're trading actually has an edge if you can execute on it consistently. But at that point where execution using hotkeys, scaling in and out, or doing whatever you need to do isn't an issue anymore, you're getting a little bit of confidence, then it's important to trade in that throwaway account, that you understand that whatever money goes in there is probably not leaving. You go in with the intention to make money, of course, not with the intention of losing it. But that's exactly the type of mindset that you need to kind of get a slap in the face for the first time with a throwaway account with like 500 bucks or 1,000 bucks or something, whatever you can afford to lose. So that you understand that trading is risky. You can lose everything that you put in, and that it's not as simple as just learning a strategy and plugging away at the charts. It's a lot more than that. Right? I had to get 4 or 5 slaps in the face before I finally decided to go back to a simulator and actually learn the habits that I needed to learn and back test the strategy properly. Some people need more than others, but eventually you realize that you've learned all you could, and the only thing holding you back is yourself. And then you need to figure out how to fix yourself. So MACD is close to crossing an IPST. One minute left to this 5-minute candle close. I'm wondering if this is going to curl back up to the highs. But there's not really an obvious pivot on it either. $15,000 share seller popping up. Thanks, Flip Flop. I appreciate that. I was hoping that we would get something fresh because I don't like getting chopped out on the backside of these curls. We've been having a ton of false breakouts, so buying in this area is going to be riskier. Um, I'll wait to see if it holds up. Pops over 8 and then gets slammed down with a burst of selling. $5,000 share sellers popping up. Yeah. I'm hoping we get something fresh, but if we don't, then it might just end up being a red day. A $14 red day, because I just sized up, is kind of negligible, honestly. Right? I could easily make that back with a good fresh opportunity tomorrow. Like, I'm not worried about it. I should have taken that ABCD pattern and I would have been green today. But right now we're dealing with these stupid false breakouts constantly. So it's very easy to get smoked jumping in at the highs here. Eight ten or 811 candle. Let's see. I so this candle right here that popped all the way up to high of day. It was on a side chart at the time, and it popped up very fast. Right? If it had given me a pullback somewhere in between, then I probably would have had time to jump in. But it moved all the way up in and broke that pivot in two 10-second candles. So I pulled it up and it was basically already up near the highs. So I had to wait for a pullback, and I jumped in on the pullback at 8:12:47. So it pulled back. The 9 EMA came up. So it started having some support down here at 725. And 8:12:50. I thought that this was doing an ABCD pattern and it was going to pop back up to the highs. So ABCD on the 10, and then it was also forming a pullback on the 1 minute, a bull flag on the 1 minute. But I mean, probably back here, maybe at 730, it did pop back up to 780. Probably a scalping opportunity there that I missed. I was just waiting to see if it held up because we've been having so many false breakouts recently that It's difficult for me to trust jumping in near the highs. I waited to see if it would hold up. I think the one opportunity that I missed that I should have absolutely taken was this. That ABCD. The break of 750. SPY is falling. Yeah. We'll see. Maybe it bounces off of this low here. I already did it once. So it could bounce off and then come back up, but MACD's negative on this right now. And we've got higher volume selling on the 5-minute than the previous candle. So it's not a setup that I would take. I sometimes trade the open, but I normally don't stick around if there's nothing that I'm interested in to trade within like the first 15 minutes. Usually ending by 9:45, or sometimes I end before market open at like 9:15 if I have to leave early, or 9. There will be some days where I do have to leave for work by like 8:45. So it's kind of variable. Normally I try to stream for at least 2 hours from 7 to 9, but I stay longer where I can. Eventually I'm going to try to go full time in the future, and then I will stick around until 10, maybe 10:30. But when I go full time is anyone's guess. Yep, my Discord's in the description. I suppose one of the lessons of today is if there's nothing moving, then I should just keep my chart focused on the top leading gainer. Maybe I could have caught that pop. Because apparently Ross did. I don't know if he earned all of 63,000 on that first pop or if he got back in on the ABCD. But if it was moving quickly, I probably should have had it open and ready to jump in. Yeah, it's quite a lot of people. Welcome everyone. If for everyone who's new. Welcome to the Discord illusion. And flip flop. Yeah, I'm gonna work on the Discord at some point when I have time. Maybe this upcoming weekend I'll try to work on it and get it a little bit less just plain Jane. So IPST is creeping up slowly. It says you can't send messages. In certain channels, messaging is restricted. So if you're looking at, for example, the announcements channel or the rules channel, people can't message in there. But you should be able to send messages in like the general chat or the other chats. The ones that I don't have a bunch of stuff in. Like if it's in my playbook channel, then I don't let people message in there. So we're popping back up again on this. Low is about 8. Coming back up to the highs. That was 845. I don't know. I don't know what to do about this. Pops up to 850, comes all the way back down. So let's see what happens here. Does it hold up? It's a big drop from 850 all the way down to 790, 780. Pops through 850, but fails to hold. Is there going to come a time where short sellers are going to capitulate on this, or is it just going to keep false breaking out over and over? I mean, maybe if it pops up over 850 again, like if it holds up and it pops up over 850 again, but yeah, it's really hard to trust this type of market where we're having this many false breakouts is difficult to deal with. Hmm. So this is somewhat of an ABCD on the 1 minute. A low of 816. But it's popping up and then getting shoved down again. Hmm. YYAI. I don't see news on it. I was 190. Yeah, I see the recent reverse split, but that on its own for me isn't usually enough of a catalyst. It's got increasing volume. Closing is a high volume selling candle in the 1 minute. This had a big sell off and it's doing a reverse split. I don't see any news on it. And if it holds up and breaks through 190, then it could go, but all right, have a good one, the Fisk. IPST has also just been consolidating near the highs. So I'm trying to watch both of them at the same time, but it's a little bit difficult. Yeah, you certainly don't need to, no. It only takes one good trade a week. As long as you keep your red days small, one good trade a week, 1 or 2 good trades a week, and you can put some Mickey D's on the table. Get your Happy Meal. Well, there it goes again. Yeah, for sure. But we don't all need to trade 50 or 60,000 shares. Trading 5 or 10,000 shares is enough to make a good living if you're consistently profitable. Like for example, I've been trading with 50 shares to 100 shares. So that's 5,000 to 10,000 shares if you multiply my results from the past few weeks, assuming that those results can be consistently replicated with higher share size, which, there's going to be some slippage and liquidity issues, and also whether my own performance could be maintained trading 5 to 10,000 shares. But putting that aside, you multiply my results for the past 3 weeks by 100, and that's instead of $300 Canadian, that's $30,000 Canadian. Quite good for 1 month. Don't need to trade 50,000. Yeah, of course it isn't just as easy as scaling. That's why I kind of made the disclaimer that there's slippage, emotions. If I can maintain that 5 or 10,000 shares, it's probably not as easy as that, but have a good one, GV. Yeah, I mean it. I'm reading right now. I'm reading a book called Atomic Habits. It's a lifestyle book. I think the genre is self help, but it's about how small, consistent performance increases or gains can compound over time. Like habits are the compounding interest of life. And it talks about how your performance is usually a lagging indicator of these small gains. Like you don't see these small gains until like a pot of hot water, a boiling water that you're heating up. You don't see it heating up until it suddenly begins boiling. Or like an ice cube melting, right? You put an ice cube on a table while it's cold. Yeah, by James Clear. Really good so far. Or you put an ice cube on the table and it heats up. The temperature in the room heats up. It doesn't start melting until it reaches a certain temperature. Right? You don't see it melting until temperature increases degree by degree until it's hot enough in the room to actually melt the ice cube. It's similar to how progress works in anything. You don't see those results for a while until those small compounding gains build up to a point where suddenly, before you realize it, you might not have had an epiphany or anything, but suddenly you're profitable and suddenly you're making a lot of money. You don't know when or why or how it happened, but You make an effort to improve just by a little bit every day. Eventually that compounds if you keep at it and you make the right decisions. But for now, I'm still kind of testing the waters to see if, the past few weeks is just a stroke of luck or what's going on. Um, you know, that's why I don't size up with 10,000 shares right now. That would be a very foolish thing to do. A car going down the racetrack, if I'm learning to drive, I gotta make sure I don't end up in a ditch along the way. If I go from 0 to 200, gotta get used to going faster first. Just a little bit faster. And if I go a little bit faster and I end up in the ditch anyways, then I gotta go slower again. That's all it is. Trading does get easier over time. Yeah, it develops your intuition. I agree with that. I've been streaming for um since April, so April, May, June, July, about 4.5 months. I've been trading for a year, but I only started streaming in April. So it's already 9:15 and we haven't had any actual fresh opportunities, and I missed the one opportunity for the day that would have put me back green, which is unfortunate. But the $14 loss is really negligible. So, I mean, we'll see what happens at market open here, but I'm not going to force any trades if there's nothing that looks really good at market open. Otherwise, the false breakouts is kind of sucky. Thanks, I appreciate that. Yeah, I try to make it look nice on stream as much as I can. I'd sort of treat the stream as kind of off center a little bit. It's a little bit better. But I kind of treat the stream as a review tool for both me and potentially for other people. So I have everything on the stream that you kind of need to review the trades if you want to go back, right? The top leading gainers is important for context in terms of if the stock is in play, if a lot of traders are watching it, or if there's dispersed attention, the news, and then the 5 pillars on the stock quote. So I can go back and review this myself. The only thing that might change, I'm not sure yet, is whether I'm going to keep with TradingView charting or if I'm going to go with ChartsWatcher charting. Once my TradingView sub expires, I have yet to decide that. I don't really like how there's a bunch of wasted space on the ChartsWatcher charts because they're all individual with their own drawing toolbars and extra bar at the top for the milliseconds and stuff. TradingView definitely looks nicer on stream. I'm not sure yet though. These aren't to be taken as missed opportunities. Thanks, Stone Cold. The reason why I label them as missed opportunities is because I keep a tally on the side of all of the trades that should have been taken according to my strategy. It's something to help me focus on the process rather than the outcome of the trade. So if there's something that I should be taking according to my strategy and my setups, then I didn't, then I label that as a missed opportunity and I keep it on the side, similar to how Tom Hogard talked about invest loser wins. One of his trading rituals when he sat down in the morning was pulling up a spreadsheet or like a presentation of all of his past mistakes, so it reminds himself what not to do. Sort of the same approach, right? If I want to get over my hesitation, then I want to be reminded of it every single day. That there's so many more setups that I should be taking, right? I think my count is up to 26 now. All of them were at least 50 cents per share. 50 cents to $1 per share moves, right? If I had taken all 26 of those opportunities, my profit would be ridiculous. But it's not because, maybe my technical analysis isn't good enough. I don't have enough confidence to enter the trade. But it doesn't matter if it's a winning or a losing trade either. If it was a part of my setups, even if the trade didn't work out, then I should have taken it. Should have pressed the button. That's what it's there for. Well, one thing I was considering doing was making a video talking about, like I didn't used to be this conservative. I definitely had a period. If you go look back at my streams where I was trading in the simulator, I was taking a lot more trades than I take right now. And before that, I was taking a bunch more trades. But I was considering talking about in a video how I learned this level of discipline. I did have some incidents where I held and hoped and blew up my accounts and doing all that sort of newbie stuff, being a bag holder. It may not be profitable, but at least I have the ability to hold myself back and to cut my losses now. It would be one of my more important videos though, so it's gonna take a little bit of time to develop if I do that video. But I'm thinking that today is just a red day. I don't know if I'm gonna take any more trades. Um, if I look back at my red trade, was it a bad trade? Right? 8, 12, 47. Let's see. We just had a pop. Huge volume. We pulled back. I waited for it to hold up. So I took it on this candle right here, which I thought was an ABCD pattern. ABCD. Higher volume buying than selling. MACD was open. Potentially forming a cup and handle on the 1 minute with a bull flag pattern. And right now it's showing as a red candle, but that was forming as a potential bull flag pattern. Not at the time that I took the entry. I was still on the first candle in the entry, but it continued holding. So I held it thinking that the second candle was going to be a pullback. Stop was about 7:30, which was the low of this candle back here. I don't think it was a bad trade. I think it was a fine trade. It just ended up not working. So in terms of that trade, I think that was fine. But the part that I missed today was just missing this. As I said earlier, I should have got in on that. So I followed the process in terms of my first trade, but I didn't follow it in terms of the second trade. But there wasn't any other opportunities for me for the day, honestly. Other than maybe if I had been watching this for the pop through there, then I could have just jumped in for the break of 7. I don't think there were really any other opportunities today. I think today was just a really choppy day. Not for my strategy, at least. In 2023, there were so many YouTube streams of guys making a killing, and the market got slow and they all died off. Yeah. When the market is giving you a tailwind, it's really easy to be profitable. For me, funnily enough, it was actually the opposite. I typically do better when it's a cold market because the stock that pops up is very obvious. There's no dispersed attention. When it pops up and holds up, that's when I'm jumping in. When the stock is just going crazy and there's stocks popping up everywhere with no rhyme or reason, that's when I was doing worse, actually. Like in June, when the Chinese stocks started popping up, I hadn't yet learned to jump in on micro pullbacks. I was waiting for bull flags or ABCDs on the 1 minute. And those setups weren't working very well because the stocks were moving up 200, 300% and then going sideways since they were so extended. I feel like if we were to get back into a hot market again with that same sort of price action, I'd be a lot more confident about jumping in on those Chinese stocks now, and I would actually do well. But I actually don't. I don't mind if it gets colder because it means that even though there's not much moving, most of the time there's going to be one stock in focus each day, and it's going to be really easy to trade. Either it holds up or it doesn't. If it doesn't, you don't trade it. If it holds up, you trade it. But I can see how for a lot of other people, when it's cold, they typically overtrade and they get themselves kind of smoked out the market. Yeah, I don't know when this is gonna pop either. We got a minute to market open. MACD is positive. It's got a low of like this pullback low is around 750, 745. A little bit of a pivot there. I don't know. I typically don't trade first few minutes of market open because it's laggy on my trade zero and it's too choppy. But we'll see what direction this ends up going. I'm going to put IVF on my side chart too. The halt band's all the way up at 970. Hmm. So what does it do? Yeah. Why we wait? It probably has some ascending resistance here somewhere. Mm. Let's call that ascending resistance. Looks about accurate. IVF breaking through VWAP. I don't like the volume profile on the 10-second. I'm curious if this is going to give us a nice 1-minute pullback when it reaches 275. I have 311. Low is 250. $257, I mean. It's quite a long-bodied candle. Yeah, I'm not sure. Got a couple of topping tails on these two pullbacks. Spinning top into break of 275, comes back down. Kind of does an ABCD pattern, but it's slightly choppy, not moving very quickly. Let's see. The low of this was 265. That one's 267. $18 seconds left on that 5-minute candle. I see IPST kind of creeping back up. This one dumps. I don't know. I think the writing might just be on the wall today. This sort of choppy price action is very easy to get yourself smoked. Creeping up, and then it just suddenly dumps from 850 all the way down to 790. The other one just dumped from 280 all the way down to 230. Have a good one, Tex. Have a good one, human. I'm going to shut it down here too. A very negligible $14 red day. We sized up today and only took a 14-cent loss on 100 shares. Very easy to make back with a good trade tomorrow. So, and I don't think the trade was bad. I think it just didn't work out. So, no hard feelings about today. I think I'm just going to shut it down here. There's so many false breakouts that it's kind of astonishing. Have a good one, Kingman. IVF, you believe that was a bearish signal. The second green candle was a spinning top. Higher volume, but didn't go up. Yeah, that's kind of why I didn't take a position on it. Spinning top candle into a bunch of topping tails. Breaks through the pivot of 275, but fails to go higher. It just didn't feel right. IPST, I mean, maybe at some point later in the evening, one of these is going to crawl back up and actually squeeze out some short sellers. But for right now, I can't wait around all day. So it just is what it is. All right, shutting down here. Thanks everyone that stopped by today. We'll be back at it again tomorrow at 7 a.m. Eastern time as per usual. But till then, take care, stay green. See you guys next time.